Hi, this is Cheryl from Salty News Network. So today, I have something very interesting to show you guys. You know how we just talked about Aorus and their flexing falcon? Did you know that their parent brand company, Gigabyte, has an eagle instead? This is the Gigabyte GeForce RTX 3080 Eagle OC. So can this card bring you fly or not? Well, let's unbox to find out. So let's get all of the basic specs out of the way first. This card features 2nd gen RT cores, 3rd gen Tensor cores, 1755 MHz core clock speed, and a 10GB GDDR6X 320-bit memory interface. For ports, you get 2 HDMI ports and 3 display ports to hook up your displays. As for power, it features 2 8-pin connectors. Now let's talk about the design. So the Eagle series cards are supposedly space and sci-fi inspired. You see that there's this transparent top cover over here, and the card itself is in a cool matte grey. You'll also find the word Eagle in bright blue letters in case you forgot which graphics card you bought. As with any other graphics card, cooling is super important to keep your temps low and your frames high. This features Gigabyte's WindForce 3X cooling system, which is a bunch of features that work together to dissipate heat effectively. So first up are the fans. So the fans are very imba. You know why? Because 2 of the fans here are 90mm, while the last fan here is 80mm. So like, you know, imbalance, like one big and one small. Ha! Anyway, the fans spin in alternate directions so that the airflow is in the same direction, thus reducing turbulence and increasing air pressure. As you see on the fins, there's these ridges that actually work to guide airflow. These fans use graphene nano lubricant, which allows them to have the lifespan close to that of double ball bearing design fans and are even quieter. Speaking of quiet, these fans stay off when not under heavy loads, so you won't have to put up with a PC that's noisy as f***. Apart from the fans, the WindForce 3X cooling system involves 7 composite copper heat pipes and a large copper plate which is in direct contact with the GPU, which effectively transfers heat from the inner cores to the heatsink. It also has screen cooling, which effectively means that the extended heatsink allows air to pass through the vents directly for better heat dissipation. Finally, the hallmark of a gaming PC, RGB. This card features RGB Fusion 2.0, which allows you to customize and tweak the RGB lighting and sync it with all your other Aorus devices. As for performance, we've run a couple of benchmarks, so I'll just pop the results on screen. As you can see, you can run most AAA titles with no issue. Basically, if you want to get the most bang for your buck, Gigabyte's Eagle series cards will give you exceptional cost per performance so that you can make sure that you're making the most out of your investment. And now that I've introduced the graphics card, it's time for me to clumsily segue into the next topic I want to cover in this video, which is system latency. I'm sure you've heard of NVIDIA's famous frames win games motto, but there's another major factor that helps you dunk on your opponents, which is system latency. What is system latency? No, it's not when you play online games and it lags, that is network latency. System latency involves your entire PC system itself, meaning from the moment you click shoot on your mouse to the moment the bullet is shown to be fired on the screen. The delay between these 2 instances is called system latency. End-to-end system latency involves a few stages, first being your peripheral, second your PC, and lastly your display or monitor. And at these stages, there's an amount of input delay, but today we're going to focus on the part involving your PC. Let's talk about what happens when you click your mouse to fire a bullet in a shooting game. When you click your mouse, an input is sent to your CPU, which then processes it and submits a new frame to the GPU to be rendered. Once the GPU renders the frame, it sends it to the display for your eyes to see. This is called render latency. So, how does all of this relate to the graphics card I was talking about earlier? Now I'm going to show you why you should get an NVIDIA graphics card. Just a few months ago, NVIDIA released the NVIDIA Reflex software development kit. As the name suggests, it has something to do with speeding things up. So basically, NVIDIA Reflex allows game developers to optimize their games for better performance by reducing render latency. When your PC is GPU bound, meaning that the CPU is processing frames faster than the GPU can render, NVIDIA Reflex's low latency mode kicks in to eliminate the GPU render queue and reduce CPU back pressure, thus smoothing out the render pipeline. On the other hand, when your PC is CPU bound, meaning that your CPU is not keeping up with the GPU, NVIDIA Reflex offers a feature called Low Latency Boost, which overrides the GPU's power-saving features to allow the GPU clocks to stay high. But no matter if your PC is GPU or CPU bound, NVIDIA Reflex intelligently adapts and reduces render latency so your PC stays fast and responsive without you having to lower your game settings to compensate. Currently, only a handful of games support NVIDIA Reflex, including Fortnite, Valorant, Apex Legends, and Call of Duty Warzone. But don't worry, more games are being added to the list as we speak. But for now, let's see NVIDIA Reflex in action. So as you can see, with NVIDIA Reflex turned on, we can effectively lower render latency and get even faster response times than before. If you're thinking, how is a few milliseconds going to affect my gameplay? I can't even see it. Let me show you an example on how it will affect your gameplay. Over here, you can see that the mouse was clicked right as the crosshair was on the target, but the game still registered it as a miss. Why? That's because the latency caused your PC to read your crosshair behind the target, who has already crossed the gap. So as you can see, milliseconds absolutely do count. Even if you think you can't feel it, it also affects other things like Pico's advantage as well. If you're the hardcore gamer you think you are, every little thing counts when it comes to securing a win. Just like frames win games, and milliseconds wreck opponents. So now that you know why system latency is important, it's time to treat yourself to a shiny new upgrade. And if you're planning to do that, you know what to get. For more info on the GIGABYTE GeForce RTX 3080 Eagle OC, check out the link in the description below. This is Cheryl from SNN signing off. Just kidding, it's giveaway time. If you want to snag some mystery gifts from GIGABYTE, all you have to do is follow the steps in the description for a chance to win. And that's it. Now I'm really signing off. Okay, bye!